which soon will change name. But yeah, it's scheduled as a contributor first meeting. So it's a meeting dedicated to folks joining AsyncAPI or folks that are already part of the AsyncAPI community and would like to contribute to the project. So we're having a set of different live streams about different topics, everything around contributing to the project, and it's all for you, for contributors. So you can join, ask questions, and you can suggest topics that we should cover. So yeah, that's it if it comes to the intro, especially for people watching recording, because at the beginning of the stream, there are basically no people really watching. So in the meantime, let me please just give me a second. I'm gonna copy a link to the live stream on YouTube, because if you don't know, we're streaming to different platforms: Twitch, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. But yeah, I'm gonna share a link to YouTube. Still my favorite one. I'm not yet from the generation that switched to Twitch. In the meantime, if already somebody's watching, please write a message in the chat. Say hello. Okay. I'm almost there. Oh yes, yes, we see people. We so many people. Hello. Hey, nice nice to see you. Like not that I'm surprised, but anyway, okay, so I have the link. So I'm gonna share it with folks in our Slack. So if you did not know yet, in our Slack we have a how to contribute channel dedicated to contributors. So yeah, join it. Okie dokie. So we have a link to the stream shared in the Slack, so we can start a conversation. Let's see in the chat. Okay, so I see in the chat that Maciek, there are some folks waiting for you. Definitely ask questions. And in the meantime, I'm gonna introduce the topic that we have for today. So today we're gonna talk about a React component. It's one of the main projects that we maintain at AsyncAPI organization that allows rendering of the documentation. So I'm not going to talk more about it because we have a special guest who's in the backstage, Maciej Urbańczyk, from the same country as I am, a beautiful Poland. He's a main maintainer of React component, and he will make some explanation, like basic stuff you have to know about the project. But in the meantime, remember, you as get asked, like if you want to ask questions, feel free to ask. So yeah, Maciej, get ready, like fix your hair. I don't have to, but you're still young, so it's a useful for you to do it. So yeah, I'm clicking a button and you're gonna be visible to other humans.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Thank you,
welcome.
Łukasz, for a great introduction and about this part with the Poland and my hair.
No worries. Yeah. So before you jump into the explanation, because like for others, we had a quick conversation with Maciej before the stream, like how we should start, like what is the most important for you to know, and we came up with two topics. right? So one was like explaining the um,
The difference between the branches, yeah.
difference between branches, but also before we talk about differences in branches and playground, etc., we have to explain
Mhm.
this, like what other async API tools depend on React component. So basically, people understand, like, if they want to contribute to tool A, they need to remember that
Mhm.
actually they have to make changes in React component because it's just used in this
Yeah,
tool.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can start from the second topic.
Yeah, awesome.
So
Will you?
so
So yeah,
mhm,
before sorry for interrupting. Like, you can share screen if you want. Just let me know
mhm,
that you
okay,
want.
don't worry,
Yeah. Okay. Stage is yours then.
don't worry. Okay. So from the second topic, where exactly we are using the React component at the moment, the main area is the place where exactly we render the documentation. And at the moment we have three different tools, three different repositories where exactly we are using the React component. The first one is the HTML template. Is exactly the template that renders your AsyncAPI document to the static HTML markdown. Yeah, it's a sort of like a Swagger UI. Um, so yeah, the HTML template, it means that if you want to render, you exactly run the generator with the HTML template, and then the generator create the static HTML markup from the React component. I don't want to focus what exactly we are doing under the hood, because the people know that the React is the JavaScript ecosystem. It's exactly the Vue library. It's not the framework like the Angular. So people can have can surprise that we exactly render the static HTML, but I don't want to focus on that. The second project that we using the React component is the playground, where exactly you can preview your AsyncAPI document in the browser. So you can also edit something in the browser editor, and then you see the changes on the right. Yes, it's exactly the React component. And the last one is the new repository and new tool, uh, the Studio. Uh, it will. It is exactly a new playground. Playground at the moment is the Node.js application, and we everything handle in the server side, but we decide to go to the browser side, and that's it. So as you can see, probably the React component next to the parser.js is the most used tool in the our ecosystem.
But I think we can say that, like,
Mhm.
among those three different projects, people can forget about Playground, right? Because as you said, like, Studio is the next
Yeah,
Playground.
yeah. So we'll
Um,
only use it in the two different repo. Yeah.
yeah. So
I
because
hope that in this month we will replace the studio. I mean the playground by the studio.
because like I'm not fully
Mhm.
following all the changes in Studio, because you're just like Flash Gordon, and I'm not able to follow. But
Mhm.
as far as I understand, I think we're just missing this playground functionality where users can ask to get a zip of the generated docs, right? So that's the only
Yeah,
thing that is missing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Generate the markdown and HTML, but for that we create a separate project called the server API that will also host in some server, probably under the domain the api.asyncAPI.com, and we exactly use that tool from the studio. But if you want, you will be able also to use it by the Postman some curl, yes, because it will be the open source it, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So that's it. And about this first topic, about these branches, yes, because it's very important. The React component is was exactly created in my previous job in SAP, we decide to go with the React component to render the AsyncAPI documentation. And after 1 year or something like that, we decide to transfer the code owners from SAP to the AsyncAPI ecosystem initiative. And we follow by the SAP styling, etc., etc. And after my switching from the from SAP to the Essence API initiative, we decide to rewrite the component from the scratch, and we exactly at the moment have two branches: the master, the old one, with this old styling, old rendering, etc., etc., and the new one, the next. Yes. So if you want to contribute, you exactly must contribute to the next branch. Yes. First fork the repository, then switch to the next branch, and then create the branch from the next branch. Yes. From the next, of course, the upstream branch. Yes. And then start contributing with our workflow. But the Łukasz probably in the first, on the second meeting about the contributing first, explain all workflow that we have in the our Essence API organization. Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, but I can actually. I was like, what do you
Mhm.
want me to explain? But actually, I think that now we can just briefly like explain. So just just pe- just so people understand what's the difference between the default branch in the React component and the next branch, because like we went this direction to have next branch because of like huge styling changes in the component. We didn't want to release it as yet another minor version to not confuse people that like all suddenly the whole UI changed. So that's why we went with the next branch to start releasing release candidates. So you have to know that like if you're contributing to master branch, the default branch, and we release something, it goes the old flow, let's say. So it's 0 dot something release, like minor release.
Mhm.
But whenever you open APR against the next branch and it's merged, then our workflows produce a release candidate release. So if you, for example, do npm install AsyncAPI React component, by default, npm will install you the latest stable version, which is 0
Yeah.
dot something, not release candidate. So you need to
Yeah.
remember
Exactly.
about it. That like to use release candidates, latest one, you just have to add this flag next, I think,
Yeah. The next stack. Yeah. Exactly.
or just a specific release candidate
Version.
version.
Yeah. Exactly.
And when we release it, you don't have to worry about like if HTML template depends on React component. Like for you as a contributor, like do you have to do something like if it's released in the React component, how do I have to manually bump it in the HTML template or manually bump it in Studio? Then you don't have to, because we also have this part automated. So
Yeah.
it might be confusing that like in React component we have release candidates, but then we use them
In
in
production mode in the HTML.
production in HTML
Yeah.
template. But so far nobody complained, so I think it was a it was a good direction we
Yeah.
took.
Yeah. But it's not the production ready for React application in this way. But if you use to only render the HTML static render, yes, and you don't want to, wrap this component in another component, etc., etc., so it's not
Yeah.
the problem at all. Yes.
Okay, so I see, like Maciej, we have some comments from Jonas, and
Yeah.
Alejandra also like confirms. So if you can share a screen and show this, I think it should be enough, and people can just
Mhm.
confirm. Should be enough that you show that there are two branches, and what's the difference in the naming of the releases. That it's
But
how do you know if it's
I
release
have,
candidate?
yeah, but I have to close the the browser because the Google Chrome want to the preferences to, I mean the permission to record my monitor.
Like you want to leave the stream for a second, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Exactly.
I mean,
Okay.
we've got plenty of time. I
So
can
sorry.
I
Sorry,
can
everyone.
speak about do some jokes or something. Like, no worries. Take your time.
Okay.
So, actually, I lied. I'm not good in making jokes, in speaking about like saying jokes. So we need to do something different. Any suggestions? Oh, that was quick. He's already back. Wow, you're fast. I told you you're like Flash Gordon. Okay,
Okay,
we
I sure.
but it's
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have to make
But
it
I
like
need to.
much bigger.
Okay, I will. Okay, I see that it will be good. Okay, so if you go to the AsyncAPI React repository, you have the two branches. Of course, we have also the another branches, but yeah, the most important, the master, the main, yes, and the next. So if you want to contribute, you exactly must switch to the next branch, and that's it.
Yeah, but show also the releases.
Yeah, okay, the
uh,
releases, yeah.
yeah, because
As
the
you can
naming
see,
is pretty specific. Like,
yeah, as you can see in the releases, we show the latest version, but latest production ready, not the release candidates, but exactly yes. So it's from the master or the main branch, yeah. But if you go to the releases, we should also see. Oh my god, no, not this one. This one. Also something like that, yes. The version 9.00 next 25, and this is the pro releases, and it's exactly from the next branch. Yes, we have automation in the master and the next branch. So if someone change or yeah, I mean fix bug or add some feature to the master on the next branch, we also release that. But important thing that if we release the next branch, we exactly also release the HTML. So at the moment, the studio playground and the HTML template only focus on the releases of the next branches. Yeah. So if you fix something in the master branch, you don't worry about because it's something like the I don't want to how to call that that you
don't use bad words because kids
no
can watch.
yeah, but it's not important, yes, in our ecosystem at the moment, only for the people that exactly use it in existing React application. So that's it.
Okay,
Mhm.
folks, can you comment? Like, is it clear? Do you need some more details? But I guess like the most important, just remember
Yeah,
like the flow is a bit different. When you clone the repo, you just have to check out the next branch.
yeah, but we have also information in the master, yeah, that we
Yeah, but
exactly in
then
process of. Yeah,
you're assuming that everyone will
yeah, but
read me, and yeah,
too long didn't read, yeah. Zoom more into
kinda.
screen.
Text seems too small. You mean
That all?
the
I don't know.
warning? You think it's
I don't know.
or the share screen is too small, Alejandra?
I think that the share screen is big at the moment.
Wait. Ah, no. She wrote that like zoom more into screen. So yeah, I guess that now when you zoomed in, should be good. Oh no, just yeah. Now
Like
I
this?
think it's
Okay. For me, it's a big. Okay.
yeah.
So
Okay,
we
so
can
I
go.
think we
Yeah.
have this initial part covered, right? So there are
Mhm.
no follow up questions. So now the next part.
Zoom into Chrome. I have 300.
Oh no,
Okay.
no,
Okay, like
it's
that.
okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the next part is about the how exactly start contributing, how to set up the development environment, etc., etc. Yeah. So I will work in the Visual Studio Code. I exactly have opened the next branch. So first of all, if
Can
you
you
want
make
to,
it? Sorry, can
yeah,
you make it like even for me? It's not big enough.
okay,
Okay.
okay,
No,
it
no.
will be good.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Should
it
be
will
good.
be
Yeah.
good. Yeah. So, like in the every JavaScript or TypeScript project in the GitHub, if you want to contribute, you first have to install the dependencies. Yes. So we use exactly the npm. We don't use the yarn. So if you use the yarn, you must switch to the npm. Okay. So npm install. I will also talk about the monorepo because this repo is more different than the other one that we have in the organization. Okay, so everything is installed and prepared. Okay, so in the React component we have exactly the monorepo. It means that inside one repository we have a several another project that we can have in the separate repository, but we decide to have only everything in one place. Why? Because the React component we should also testing, but not testing like in the code that write the unit test, but also see the changes, yes, see the styling, and it's very hard to test. So we decide to go with the monorepo with two projects, exactly the React component in a folder library, and also with the playground. We have also the web component, but I will talk later about it. So we have three projects: library, playground, and the web component. And playground is only for the development purpose. So if you start contributing and if you um, want to see the changes, you exactly will set up the playground application, which is a normal React application. Um, and yeah, it's very also important. We use also a tool called the learner. The learner help us to symlink the given project, the given npm packages to the another one. Yeah, because it means that, for example, if you try to, I will go to the playground. Oh, sorry, not that, not this playground package JSON. Sorry, I have, yeah, I exactly see that inside the playground I used the Essence API React with the latest version of the next branch. If I try to install the playground in the folder of the playground, I exactly install from the npm. Yes. So even if I start the playground, I won't see any changes that I will make in the exactly library project. Yes, exactly the React component project. So it's also very important. But back to the installation process. If exactly I start installing the dependencies, I exactly install only the dependencies inside the root of the project, yes, inside this package JSON. Then we have the npm hook, post install hook, npm run bootstrap. And run bootstrap is exactly telling learner, okay, learner start bootstrap all monorepo. Yes. If we go to the learner JSON, we exactly see the three packages: library, playground, and the web component. It means that if learner start bootstrapping, it exactly start installing the dependencies inside these three folders. And also very important, learner try to symlink the given packages, not from the npm, but exactly from your local development. So she or he, I don't know.
It.
It, okay, it. Yeah, but learner in the Polish should be the she, but okay, it. So it tried to simulate exactly the folder. So in the playground, if I go, for example, to the playground, to the node modules, to the Essence API organization, I exactly see that we have only the React component dependencies from this organization. But we have this right arrow. It means that you exactly have the symlink to this folder. Yeah, it's very important. that you don't fetch from the npm, but you exactly use the local version. So it's very important to install and bootstrapping from the root, not going to the playground and then starting the application. Yeah, it's important only for developers, but yeah. So if we exactly start the bootstrap by the learner, we also see that information about the symlink, the packages and binaries in the console. We have information that only the AsyncAPI React in this version is symlinked, and then on each folder we have also information. We have also the npm hooks, the post install, and for example in the library we have the hooks to first build the component. We've written in the TypeScript, so we must also transpile the TypeScript code to the JavaScript code to understand by the another project, and also build the styling based on the Tailwind CSS. Yes. So we exactly run everything here. Then we exactly go to the web component. Web component also have the symlink, but I don't want to show that. To the library folder, and then bundle. The difference between the library and web component is that we start preparing. That we bundle the all component, web component, by the webpack. Not only transpile code from the TypeScript to JavaScript, but also bundle to the production ready component. Yeah. So that's it. If you exactly run the npm install in the root, you exactly first install packages in the root, then go to the each folder defined in the learner.json in the packages field, install the dependency in this folder, and then try to symlink some dependencies between them. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, and yeah, so we can start showing the playground how exactly
Okay, so
looks like.
if we're going to next stage, so let's summarize. Like, so important to remember, React component repository. It's a bit different than the others. It's a monorepo with multiple projects, but
Yeah,
you don't have to go to every single one, install it one by one, because we use Lerna to basically bootstrap, like install and bootstrap
exactly.
it. So just follow the README and always do the
Yeah,
installations from the
we,
root.
we exactly have. If you go to in the next branch, it's very important to development docs development guide. You exactly see all information about that. Yes, the project structure. You can also read that before the first contributing. How to install dependencies. Yes, to install our dependencies for the playground, and prepare assembling for the library. You should npm install. Of course, sometimes you will have a problem with dependencies because this is the Node.js and npm. So if you install the new dependency in the library, you probably will have a, I don't want to say that, but it's more relevant, the fuck up. So you should exactly clear dependencies and start installing from the beginning. Yes, and also about the launch development environment. Yes.
And now we have
Yeah.
to mark this video as not available for kids.
Okay. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
So
think any kid would watch it anyway. So
maybe your daughter. So
no, not yet.
okay. Okay. So yeah. So if you want exactly start contributing, if you exactly have installed the dependencies in all packages in all projects in monorepo, you can start exactly the whole project npm run start. Yes. As you can see, okay, because the learner clear for the children. Yeah, the learner. What exactly we see? We exactly see some info from the every package that we have. Yeah, because learner not only install the packages but also can exec some the npm script, not only the npm but also the bash script in parallel. Yes. So in every project in this monorepo, we have defined the npm run bundle. build or start, something like that. Probably start. And for example, in the AsyncAPI web component, it means that if you change something in the web component, you exactly start build that project. If you change something in the React component, you exactly start transpile TypeScript code to the JavaScript code. Yes, that playground can use and show your new component. And in the playground, we exactly see the output from the Create React app, because we use the Create React app environment to set up everything. And we have also information that the playground is on the local 3000. Yes, if we go to that, yeah, and we see exactly the playground. So I will focus, yeah, and that's it. Yeah, so how to start contributing. And for example, in that case, you wanna add something to the React component. Yes, you find some bug, or you wanna add new field that we don't render, but you want to render it. But at the moment, we probably don't render the discriminator. The other case, we render. But for example, you exactly find some bug. Yes, so you should go to the library source and you see the structure. Yes, the most important part is the components and the containers. The difference between the containers and components, that component is a some helper React component that we use in several places, but containers has this structure that exactly has the Essence API document. So in the Essence API document, you have the info object, and you exactly have the info component for that to render only the info object. You have something like the operation, the channels, yes, and inside the channels operation. So for that, we have also the separate component on for render the operation. The same for the messages, schemas, and the servers. Yeah. So yeah, and as Essence API containers is exactly the one component that is exactly the main component to render everything. Yes. Above one. So yeah, you find some error, for example, in the info object. Yes, you go to the info txx, the sx. I do not focus exactly how it works, because if you want to contribute to the React, you should exactly have a basic knowledge of the JavaScript, the React, but the React with the React hooks. It's very important because we exactly use the React hooks in the several places. Yeah, and you find some bug, but in that case, I only write something. So I write only in the purpose of this meeting, of this recording. So I change exactly some code inside the info object. Yes, I like it. In the previous job, we have something like the micro frontends. How do you find micro frontends my micro frontends application? And we exactly using the learner, because you can only imagine that we have, I don't remember, 7 or 8 React application that you have to run to set up the application, the main application. So the learner helps us a lot for that. Yes, to install dependencies, and then also the setup to start exactly the each project. So yeah, okay. Yeah, it's an answer for the Dave question.
Yeah. But like, I think he's also asking like, what's your feeling about monorepos in general?
Aha, monorepos. In that case, that you have a 2, 3, the project is good for me. It's very very good. But I remember that in this really in that previous job that it's a very bad. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
Maciek, just for the
Yeah.
record, like 2 minutes ago, I shared our live stream video with folks from the previous job.
Mhm.
So remember to not say anything about them like in a bad way, because they will watch and they will hate us in the
Okay.
chat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're young, nice people, so they will not anyway.
I won't talking about the Luigi, don't worry. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, I exactly make the changes in the info object, and if we go to the, we exactly also see that the learner, the learner or TypeScript don't see any errors. And if we go to the exactly, we can see that we exactly change something. Yes. So we have also the hot module reloading. So it means that if you change something inside the source code, then the Webpack try to re-render everything from the beginning, and you exactly see the changes on the browser. Yeah. And I think that is everything. Yeah.
Yeah, looks good.
About
So you
yeah.
basically npm run start, you get the into the watch mode of the playground,
Yeah.
which is
NP
one of the
Mhm.
projects in the monorepo, and whatever you code, you can always live view the preview of the changes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. Of course, if you want, you should exactly know the structure. So I don't want to tell about what exactly the config is, the components, the context folder, etc., etc. Yeah. So yeah.
So just a message for others, like if you want him to talk more about Lerna and monorepos, just let us know. I'm gonna push him to do it. But in the meantime, like, so we know, just to summarize again, like, so we know what projects in AsyncAPI use React component.
Mhm.
We know that we have like main releases of old component and future release candidates
Yeah.
released, and we are working on it in parallel. It's not hidden, so whatever is developed on React component in the next branch is immediately reflected in the HTML template and in the studio.asyncapi.com.
Mhm.
So that's it. And then if it comes to the repo itself, remember, next branch, don't put much effort in the default branch because it will disappear pretty soon. Remember about installing from root. Remember how to start the playground, how to develop. So that's all what was already shown. How about tests? Did you cover that?
Yeah, we have some tests, mainly in the helpers, because we have something like the two parts: the rendering part and some helpers. And inside the each helper is exactly the class with the static methods that we use exactly inside the component. So if you want to, for example, write some test, you should exactly make the another folder like this dash dash test dash dash and write the test. We use exactly the jest. So yeah, you can. I remember that you can also run the test from the root or also from the sorry, the library folder, yeah, npm run test. But we have also the integration test. So we have exactly some kinds of testing of tests. Sorry.
We're using Cypress for it, right?
Yeah, Cypress for the integration test, but the just for the unit testing. Yeah. So you see something like the test. Exactly, we run that script inside the GitHub workflow to test it, and we have also the unit. You have also the sorry. Oh fuck. Sorry.
We already know it's not for children, so it's fine.
Yeah. So we have the shell script to test the unit and also the end-to-end. Yeah. Pretty good. Yeah. So not this one. How do terminal? Yeah, terminal. Yeah. npm run unit. Yes. And we can start. We can also start with the watch flag, and then if you change something inside the test, you exactly start processing the test from the beginning. Yeah, it's very similar. We have probably just in the all repository or Mocha also. I don't remember.
Yeah, we have Mocha, I think, in two repos.
Yeah,
I think in parser.js, but
yeah,
it's because it's old. But yeah. And important, like why I wanted Maciej to show tests, like because like remember, like in the workflows that we have set up for the organization, for example, when you're used to working on a pull request that you like, for example, create a draft pull request first and then iterate on the pull request a few times. So just remember that we're not running tests on draft PRs. So if you're working on a draft PR, you're going to get feedback from CI that your tests are failing pretty late. So just remember, like, run those tests locally.
yeah,
And so we have unit tests, integration tests, but also remember like this manual check of the work using the playground. And yeah, something important I don't think you mentioned, but it's also important to highlight. Don't remember if we have it in the
a web component or what?
development guide. No, like the web component, it's I think it's a technical detail, like
Yeah,
it's
but I can say about something.
okay, cool.
Yeah,
But
the
yeah, I
web.
just wanted to say
Mhm.
like that when you contribute, like for example, something more sophisticated than what Maciej showed, like with some text. But let's say you want to add support for some new some new part of the spec. Then remember that we have some samples that we have in the
Yeah.
repo, and they always should be also extended, like with the new use case, so it's visible in the playground, not only when you develop, but like later after merging.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. If you exactly want to add something new that test your changes inside the React component, exactly to render the new part in the playground, we have in the playground in the source specs folder exactly the specification from the examples from the specification repository, but written in the TypeScript. Yes, it's a normal string, but yeah, we must read that inside the JavaScript project. So if you exactly have, if you write some changes to render something new or render in different part, and you need some the mocks to test it, you should exactly update the spec, one of the spec inside the playground. Yeah, and also about the web component, yeah, because the web component is exactly the contribution from the people, not the people from the community, because they wanna to render the or React component inside the Angular application. So yeah, they contribute, and the web component is a very simple wrapper to use the React component as the web component. Yes, so if you want to use exactly the web components, you have also the documentation for that, also in the README, as I remember. Not in the README, but yeah, in docs usage. So at the moment, we exactly support that framework library that you can render and use our React component in Angular 2, not the first version, but 2 plus, the Next.js, and also inside the view and as the web component. Yes. So if you decide to exactly use our component in Angular or in the view, you should go. You should use the web component, and also we have something like the standalone bundle. But I don't know if you should talk about that because it's very complex. Um,
May I suggest something?
yeah.
Don't talk about it.
Okay. But it's very similar to web component, but you exactly operate on the references on the React component, not on the web component. Yes, it's complicated, but yeah, you have also possibility to do that.
um, okay. So we still have 15 minutes left. So if you have some questions or you'd like to jump into a live stream with us, just feel free to ask them. Also, Dave, like, I'm curious because you shared the statistics about 18K downloads per week. I'm just wondering if it's calculated only from the main release or it's accumulating also the next release, like the next versions. That's it would be interesting to know.
We can check that. Yeah, it's probably accumulated. Yeah, you
Can
can
you
see
make it
that.
like a bit
Yeah,
bigger?
yeah, downloads per week. Yeah, so it's accumulated exactly. Yeah, we have in the past 45,000.
What? I don't get it. Like, what? How do you switch this?
You can go in the timeline and then check.
What? What?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Like, I've never seen it. I just thought it's a dummy diagram rendered,
No.
and you just killed me.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Oh my god! That's that's nice. So I think when we see the drop, it's when the old project we worked for probably stopped
Mhm.
using it, because there was a lot of CI involved in this project. So might be,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's cool. But yeah, I don't get it. So is it accumulated or it's
Yeah,
just
it's accumulated. You can see.
okay?
Yeah, because you have the weekly downloads and then you have
Okay,
yeah. So for example, the version, the main version is only 460 and then 2000 for the next version.
okay.
But we also use the next version in the HTML and in the studio, so probably 1000 is from us, so from our tooling, so yeah, not from the other person. Yeah,
Oh, you think so? Like we don't really run so many workflows.
at the moment in studio we run. Trust me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then like okay, it's a topic for different conversation, but like might be because like not sure if you noticed, like recently these
Mhm.
workflows, they are like especially when we are updating workflows, the CI slows down like hell. And I was thinking like maybe we should start really start to introduce the caching in the workflows so they don't download all the dependencies with every run, but just take it from the cache. I think it's pretty nicely handled already in GitHub Actions. Something to explore because we need
Yeah,
to
we
speed
should.
up.
I remember the last release and wait 2 hours for the React component, something like that.
Mm.
But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we
it was
just
a
need
pain.
to add more ifs because, like, 2 days ago, I added
Mhm.
because I think we're just still learning GitHub Actions. Like
Yeah.
sometimes we had some ifs in the in between jobs, in between steps, while in fact we should actually have them on the job level, so the job is not even triggered. Um, so we have like there's a place to improve for sure. That's some like to just stop some workflows in some
Mhm.
conditions. But the other one is start using cache, I guess. But anyway, we will never be sure where the numbers are coming from. We know that
Yeah.
people use it. We used it at SAP before. We have folks from Backstage using it for very long.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
And in
and
this
and
week,
that's
or in this week we have we had a contribution from the backstage people. So yeah,
yeah.
it was a great. So
So no, we're not gonna
no,
finish so fast. Like 10 minutes left. So anyone, any questions? Like Alejandra, you're now pinging me a lot on Slack about totally different issue. Maybe you have some questions here because otherwise I'm also distracted. Now it happened publicly. Okay.
Of course, if someone will have a problem with setup the environment, write the code, or maybe, I don't know, changing the styling or something like that, you can write in the Slack or even in private message to me in the Slack. This is not the problem.
Uh,
The docs are in the React components, really.
Alejandra, you should have a look. I mean, I think that React component is super role model for other projects if it comes to development guides, like
Do you
development
see that? Do you
documentation.
see that?
It's like very good. Okay, so any other questions? Because if they're not, and I think we really covered everything. Actually, Maciek covered pretty much everything. How about like, oh, maybe that's something. Okay, Alejandra showing. Yes, we agree. All tools need docs. Uh, I think we're putting so much effort into writing these docs because we are afraid of Alejandra and that she will chase us to do it. But yeah, so I think that important question as well from the contributor side would be, come on, Jonas, don't be a typical developer. Like, open your mind. You do it for others, not because you have to. So the question is like, because as like maybe others understood already when I said like you're fresh, Gordon, and like there's a lot of there are many changes happening. So would you like? No, I'm not sure how to phrase the question. Like, so do you think it's the right moment to actually push anything into the next, or rather hold on with bigger changes because of something?
Nope. Yeah. I also talked about that. You mean probably the where we wanna release the major version, yes, from the merge, exactly the next branch to the main, yeah.
Yeah, like basically have major release and yeah, this stuff about styling. I'm not sure if
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah. We have at the moment 3 or 4 bugs in the React component, not something like that broke the component from the rendering, but some styling issues. We should fix that and we can go with the major version. We wait for so long to release the major version because we want to introduce also the another styling. But yeah, we wait also for designer few months. So yeah, better to go to the next, better to go to the major version and then to the next second major version change styling again. Yeah. Yeah, as I remember, also the backstage can have this problem because they go with the next branch, the next releases, and also add the dark theme. So yeah, it can be a problem for the backstage people. So I hope that we release in this year. Really.
You know what day is today? It's but yeah, I'm totally
It will
happy
be the
if
gift. It will be the
it's a
gift at
Christmas
the end
gift.
of
You
the
mean?
year. Yeah, Christmas gift, exactly.
I mean, I like your approach, like it changed a bit. So that's awesome if we don't really have to wait for the most perfect component, but just release what we already have because we have like
Yeah.
what you achieved here. It's like super cool. So
Yeah, we have also the idea of the plugins to the component that you, for example, can change rendering of the given section. Something like that. You have some extension for the info object. Yes, I don't know, maybe the X Twitter, that you have the account of the X Twitter, and at the moment we render that the plain values. Yes, the key value, but someone maybe can render it as the new component. Yes, the new React component with the link exactly. So we have also the idea of such a plugin. Yes, that you can change exactly the given section, not only the styling but exactly full component from the plugin perspective. Yeah. So it will also introduce the breaking chain. So yeah. So we should go with the first major version and then make the next version after that.
yeah, let's do it. And there's a question from Alejandra, but I'm not sure if she really wants to hear the answer or she's just throwing it at us.
So those,
So how does your mind work when you think about how a tool needs to be documented?
it's very
Um,
boring.
uh,
Everything you have in the code.
yeah,
So
everything
for what
is
we need the documentation? I don't understand.
so basically mind switches off and does whatever, it just goes with the flow. Um,
Yeah.
and this question might be, I think the answer might be interesting. So basically, how did you figure out the outline of what you wrote and the content you thought the community needs? Like, so basically how we came up with the content that we already have in the tool. Like, what was the driver here
But driver of what? Sorry, because
of
I
of
don't
the of the quality of the amount of the documentation that we have in the project. Like, because, like, you know what I said, it's one of the best documented
know.
um projects from the developer perspective, at least in my opinion.
Hmm.
And I guess Alejandra is asking, um or just throwing questions to help us out, to have some questions. But yeah, asking like, did we end up with what we have? I can,
Aha, end up.
yeah.
Yeah. I remember that some people went to render inside the Angular, or one person also in the view. So I decided to write that documentation. Also in the Next.js, we have probably 5 people that want to render exactly the component in the Next.js project. We have some problems because the people don't know about how to set up, because it's a really big component in opposite to the another one in the ecosystem, something like the Redocly or the Swagger. It's a very big component to render, yes. So I decided to write the documentation for Next.js, Vue, Angular, and that's it. So it's this documentation is exactly from the developer perspective or the usage perspective, not something that, yeah.
And it's developer community driven by basically, like,
Yeah, yeah. Even if you
well,
want to render the component in the Ember.js or in the another framework, you should create the issue, and we probably create the documentation for that. Yeah.
yeah.
So
But I think we can also share. Do we have time? Oh my god, the time finished. So
mhm.
interesting throw in from my side, because I'm not hiding it. I hate Scrum and Agile. I don't want to go into details.
Mhm.
It's just a statement. But one good thing about it, I think, and that was one of the drivers for good documentation here, was that the project, as at the very beginning of this live stream, Maciek said that It was developed in SAP before, and it was basically developed like then it was developed under AsyncAPI organization, but it was developed like fully maintained only by SAP, and it was fully maintained by a Scrum team
Yeah.
at SAP. So you know how in Scrum works, like everything assumes that everybody should know everything. Um, it's not sarcasm. Okay, it's sarcasm, but yeah. Anyway, I think that people assume that everyone should be at the same page. Everyone should be able to understand the project and contribute to it. And I think that was the driver. Like we had many developers in the team, and we had to have
And
good
also
talks.
two technical writers.
And yeah,
Surprise.
Carolina and Gosia were pushing a lot
Yeah.
as well for it. So it was, anyway, like doesn't matter if I like Scrum or not, if it was a Scrum team or not. But I think it's everything was basically driven by the need of other developers,
Yeah, exactly.
and the structure was driven by amazing technical writers.
Yeah, like for example in the studio at the moment, yes, one people have a problem with a um, big documentation to render. So I decide to make the options to delay of the rendering, that you can change something, but you have a can have a very big delay. Yes. So we have exactly the driven, yeah, the community driven. How to call that? The community driven development. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess it's a good name. We can sell it. So yeah, and the final words, Maciej, because yeah, we should finish, but you can say something.
Thank you for your attention, and really, if you will have any problem, please ping me in the Slack or in the GitHub, yes, or in some issues if you want to contribute.
Definitely, and thank you, Maciej, for taking time, joining me and others on this live stream. I
No
hope
problem.
folks enjoyed it. And yeah, stay tuned with us on the next live streams. For sure, one live stream will happen next week. Don't know yet about around Christmas. Probably. Um, uh, you distracted me, Dave. What was I supposed to say? Yeah. So we have this how to contribute channel. Join our Slack, join the channel. Let us know what you want us to talk about, because as I said at the beginning, these live streams are for contributors, and we're basically like we talked today about React Component because we had a explicit request about it from the community. So yeah, let us know next week. There's going to be a live stream, and yeah, again, I'm not sure how it's going to be around Christmas. But yeah, just stay tuned. Adios. Thank you, Maciej.
Bye bye. No problem.